Right. Blah, blah, blah. All right. What a day. Let's start with the really important thing. How much of the Ryder Cup did you watch today?
I told you, 0%.
Not even early this morning.
I watched 2 clips of Rory McIlroy cussing at fans, and that was it.
Okay.
Did you see those?
No, I haven't seen any golf today.
He's about to take his I think it's called an approach shot, and he goes, takes a couple practice swings, and then someone from the crowd says something to him. He turns around and goes, "I'm not hitting until these guys shut the F up." Like, and it's on the hot mic on the live broadcast.
That's awesome. Good for
That's
good
not
for
why
Rory.
that's not why the people are here though.
You're right. That's exactly right. Um, Oregon Penn State. Oh man, what a game! I I can't believe it went to overtime. Oregon went up 17-3, and I was like, this game's over because Penn State had just done nothing offensively. Normal Drew Aller game, missing throws he should normally make. And then I'm like really focused on Alabama, Georgia, because I'm just waiting for Alabama to figure out a way to screw up my bet. And sure enough, I glance over and I'm like, oh, 17-10. And then, like obviously Penn State is still Penn State, but I was at least slightly impressed at their ability to respond to going down 14.
Yeah, I mean, 424 yards to 276. I mean, when you look down this, 6 of 18 on third down, 6 of 15 on third down. I mean, the biggest discrepancy here is the ability to throw the football. Everything
Yep.
else is pretty much dead even. And then you look at the stats and it's 14 of 25 compared to 29 for 39. 6.4 yards an attempt versus 5.5. And then obviously the interception, the turnover. Like, it's the same song and dance that we've been talking about for years with this Penn State team and Drew Aller. On Friday, when we were talking, previewing the game, we both literally said this was going to happen, and like everyone in the world that actually in their heart of hearts felt this game had a feeling this was going to be the way it goes. Like, the only reason you would pick Penn State in this game is because you felt like it was a necessary thing for Penn State season. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. It was a must win. And yeah, it's just the same song and dance. We've seen it over and over again, man. It's like, how many times can you fool me?
Oh, they didn't fool us though.
Right.
We knew exactly what was coming. And I want to stick on Drew Aller here for a second. At what point, or let me back up. This is his third year as the starter, correct?
I think this is his fourth year as a starter.
And he's this. I feel like he's the exact same guy. And
Yep,
it's
he's the
like
Michael Kidd Gilchrist of quarterbacks.
that's good. Just like James Franklin and his staff have to do a better job of bringing him along. Like I don't feel like he does anything better now than what he did last year, and like that is really such an underrated part of like the Drew Aller story. Like yes, Tyler Warren's gone, but I don't know. I feel like the receivers were better than the ones that they had last year. I'm sure that they missed the guy that's playing for Ole Miss now and had a really nice day today. But like the fact that he hasn't gotten any better is why they lost this game. Because Dante Moore was really bad in 5 games at UCLA. Obviously, a very different situation, but he's gotten so much better and he has a really nice game. And as you said, like the difference in the game was Oregon's ability to throw the football.
I just watched BYU field a punt in their own end zone. Um, oh, sorry.
No,
If
you're
you saw
good.
my reaction, I was like, "What in the world am I watching?" But no, like, I don't know if you can if you can put this on coaching. I literally think Drew Aller has hit his head on his ceiling. I mean, I think the receivers are they're much improved. You can tell. And Coltonicki's supposed to be one of the more respected names as offensive coordinator. Like, it's not, Drew Aller has all the pieces around him that you could ask for from a high level college football team perspective. I think you're just seeing you've gotten everything you can out of him. I don't think there's any more left in the tank there.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like when you've seen this many snaps and it still looks the same, like you're probably right. I will say, like, I was really intrigued to see how Oregon's front held up against this Penn State offensive line because it's like the exact same guys from last year, and like the offensive line for Penn State's pretty good. The Uwe Ungale, dude, the monster, man. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like Dante Moore is the guy who should rightfully get a lot of the credit, but they couldn't block him at all. I think I was of all the really good defensive players in this game, I thought he jumped out the most.
Yeah, he was disruptive. He was very disruptive, and I think denied Dennis Sutton was just as disruptive for Penn State. And looking at the rushing numbers, it was pretty even. But I don't feel like Uiagalelei was like the game wrecker tonight.
I felt like every third down he showed up.
He only had one sack. I mean, maybe he did create some pressure and did throw Aller off his mark, but you're going I don't think that he made such an impact to where you can go, "Oh yeah, well, Drew Aller was bad, but it's tough when you have Ungale breathing down your neck." I don't think it was that type of an impact.
Agreed. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But still, like I was really impressed with the trenches from Oregon. Their ability to reload, like five
They're
returning
good, man.
starters from last year, and shout out to Phil Knight. All that money he's sending over makes it a little easier. But like there's a lot of young guys, like multiple freshmen. I guess some of them were redshirt freshmen, but like young guys contributing. It is really unique, I think, based off what we've seen from the past couple of years, to have a young team be this good. Because like it feels like college football's been dominated by older teams these past 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, Oregon's really good, and I think you can I don't think you can look at Oregon now and say like, oh, they're plucky, or they're a gimmick, or they're soft. Like they've built themselves into what it takes to be a national power at the top level of the sport. It's no longer, oh, we're gonna do this really quirky thing that puts us apart from other teams. Like no, they're built in the trenches, big, strong, fast, physical, and they have all the ingredients of a team that can win the national title every year. Throw them in the mix with an Alabama, maybe. I mean, the names are kind of changing, I guess, is what I'm kind
Throw
of
them in the
thinking.
mix
Like,
with Ohio State. Start
well,
there.
it's yeah, Ohio State. You can start Oregon. Like, you can start throwing them in that conversation where every year they might have the best roster in football. And I think
Yeah.
Alabama's kind of taken that step back there. Georgia's kind of taken a step back there. But I think Ohio State and Oregon are set up in the future here for, those are the two Big Ten behemoths, and it's going to be them every year.
That is what it feels like. Penn State still looking for that first signature win since they beat Ohio State. That was over 5 years ago
2016,
now. 20, oh,
2016,
even longer. Jeez.
because of a blocked kick too.
Yeah, and like the one year that they weren't supposed to be good as well, which makes it even funnier. Um, I so they go on the road. Penn State does to Ohio State. I think in a month,
Yeah, it's in
and
October, or
yeah,
it's mid-October.
yeah, and so they're probably going to lose that one. They're probably going to beat IU, and that's going to be like their one quote unquote big win. And
It's
I,
what we were
I just
talking about on
yeah,
the radio Friday. They're going to go
yeah,
10-2, just like they always do.
I
Like what?
just
Nothing's changed.
yeah, I find it really funny. Just and you said it on Friday, like they're they're not going to fire James Franklin,
Yeah.
and which like part of me understands that because it's like who are you going to hire? Who's better than him? Like unless there's like a scandal and Ryan Day leaves Ohio State or something like that, you're not getting anybody better. And
I don't think you're rolling the dice on what you have right now. You're gonna bank on uh and it's going to be tough this year because this is the year that you really, really thought they. And who knows? They could still go on this run. I just think they're limited at quarterback, and I don't think you could be limited at quarterback and do the things that you want to do on a national level. But do you really want to give up the national relevance? Do you really want to give up the roster building and the talent that you can get? Do you want to roll the dice on that? Because it's not guaranteed that even if a Matt Campbell comes in or someone like that, that things get better. And
Yeah.
when we're talking about better, like think about what we're really saying. We're talking about like this much. Like it's not this huge gap. It's the margins, it's the little things. I have a five-star quarterback that elevates my team, or do I have a five-star quarterback that needs everything to be right for things to go well? That's how small of a margin we're talking about. Do you want to roll the dice there?
No. The answer is no. Because
Right.
like you would think that at some point, then again, it's been a decade, so maybe not. You think at some point it breaks their way.
That's
You
the point. That's the thing, right? Like you would think at some point, like they win this game.
Yeah. And they almost did. Like that ball Drew Allen threw, like the color commentator, he said it at the end. He's like, you have to make an absolutely perfect throw to fit that in. And it's just like pick up 4 yards and let's live for 2nd and 6. And yeah, but I
He
mean,
he 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 was throwing that ball regardless. That's what that looked like.
he didn't look away. He looked there the
Yeah.
whole way.
And
And
Thieneman comes down from in the middle of the field as a safety, and like that wasn't some like crazy coverage. Like they just rolling your safety down into the box, and you have to be like you have to be able to see that either pre-snap or uh, we can rehash the Drew Aller experience all we want, but like,
it's the
is
same
there
conversation.
anyone is there anyone that is on the other side of this at this point after tonight? Like, is anyone like pro Drew Aller or like Drew Aller's close or like there can't be like this is
The
actually kind of
team,
sad. It's
the
like the end
NFL,
of the Drew Aller conversation.
yeah. The NFL team with the 14th pick. That's who.
It's true. He is going to go first round, and that's just not going to work. Like,
Yeah,
if everyone can see it, like, why can't NFL teams? But yeah,
because
that's
they're
another
desperate.
conversation.
That's the answer. A lot of people in here, by the way. Jonathan Smith, joined by Zack Gray. Follow him on X at ZG the Grapevine. Best sports gambler I know. You said you wanted to have a general conversation about college football. What did you mean by that when you said that?
I just think that I think you're really starting to see the who the haves and the have-nots start to really shake out. And I think there's a clear top three, and then there's a pretty big gap after that. I think it's
Yeah,
Miami, Oregon, and Ohio State, and then everyone else.
agreed.
Um, I think it's just a testament to Lanning and Day, like two young coaches that have built their rosters and their cultures the right way. And you see both of them spending money at a high level, but you see them spending it calculated and strategic. And their first priority is to retain players and to get proven players, and then still have that base in high school recruiting. Like they're like just the way that they construct their rosters, the way they run their programs. Like in this day and age in college football, they're not the most flashy when it comes to all this other stuff, but they're running their programs exactly how you want it ran in 2025 college football. And I just think, Miami might just have hit the transfer portal lottery here with Carson Beck and all
He
that.
looks
But
good.
I think you can really start. I think you can see exactly how things should be done in this age of college football by looking at Oregon and Ohio State.
I completely agree. Like both, all three programs, they have the money needed, especially like Ryan Day and Dan Lanning, especially like their ability to evaluate talent and bring in the right guys, whether it's high school guys or transfers. Like that's why, like ultimately, like college football is still a talent game. Like that's what it is. And if it's it's the only sport where like the rich get richer. That's just kind of how it works. And if I evaluate talent better than you do, and I have the funds to by those guys, then, and you, of course, Dan Lanning and Ryan Day are both excellent coaches, like in-game management stuff as well. But like that's really where it starts, and I think you're exactly right. Like Dan Lanning and Ryan Day do that better than anyone else, and that's
And the
why,
culture, like
yeah,
the cult, like the guys that they have, like they don't compromise on the type of player and the type of fit that are on those rosters. And like you see these other teams, I think you could throw Miami into this equation here, but it's kind of like, they'll make concessions if a guy doesn't necessarily fit with what they're doing. You'll see them make concessions because they're talented, and maybe that's just a luxury of Ohio State and Oregon with the built-in advantages they have. But it's just like you Ohio State and Oregon will pass on a 5-star if it doesn't fit the culture, if it's not the right fit. And like, how many other teams have the balls to do that?
yeah, and that's
I think that speaks volume. I think that's a
it
pretty big
does.
microcosm of what I'm saying. Like, I'll pass on this 5-star because I trust in what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like the built-in advantages of Oregon and Ohio State allow you to do that more than other schools, but like Georgia and Alabama have those same built-in advantages. And like everyone loved Ryan Williams last year. I can't stand him. Like I don't know if you like Kirk Herbstreit calling him out on the broadcast for not blocking, and he's just, and like he's I it's like when you see a guy when I see a guy in an Alabama uniform, and I think this is just habit. I asked myself this question of like, could this guy play for Nick Saban? And like, I know that Ryan Williams was recruited by Nick Saban, but like the way that he behaves, I'm like, there's absolutely no way. Like this guy would have hit the portal pretty quickly under Nick. And like when you look at Ohio State and Oregon, to your point, they don't have guys like that.
Yeah, you don't get a Ryan Williams doing that. You don't get I forget the cornerback that jumped on the pile and
Yeah,
at the end of,
the Georgia game. Yeah,
you don't get that stuff, man. And that goes a long way because at the end of the day, that game right there, Oregon and Penn State in overtime, like that's where the culture and the grinding and the fit and the chemistry all comes together in a moment when you make a big play and you win the game.
yeah. I think you're exactly right. I don't have any
We're kind of
other.
cooking right now. We're
We
kind of
are.
cooking right now.
It's going pretty well to start. I don't have any other points on Penn State that haven't already been said before. You mentioned Oregon, and I think Oregon and Ohio State are the two best teams. I would put Miami third. I don't know who I'd pick. I'm torn between I like Dante Moore more than Julian Sayin, but I think Ohio State has the best defense in college football.
I think Ohio State's the best team in the country, and I know that everyone's going to say that's biased or whatever, but
You're
I
not
really
biased.
do.
Yeah.
I do think they have the best team in the country. I think that there's too much. I just think their talent is a little bit better than everyone else. I think that it's not necessarily like the talent as a whole, but I feel like in really key positions they're really talented. Like Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith, obviously. But like Arvell Reese is playing like a first round off ball linebacker. Aiden Curry's playing like a first round edge. Like there's guys that are really, really popping for Ohio State in addition to the freaks they already have. And it's just kind of like, okay, this team can beat you in a plethora of ways. Like they can only have 7 meaningful possessions in a game on the road in Washington and completely control the game. Oregon can do kind of the same things, and I do think they have right now a quarterback advantage. So that's why I think those two teams are far and ahead, better than everyone else, except maybe Miami, and maybe I'm a little high on Miami just because they beat Notre Dame. Um, I don't know. Notre Dame looked like they were pretty good today, but then again, it is the
It is
garbage
Arkansas.
hogs.
It is. It is.
But yeah, that's
Jeez.
that's kind of my overall thought.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I do agree though. Like those are the two best teams, and I think the encouraging thing for Ohio State is you've got like 8 more games for Julian Sayin to develop and get better. And like that's a lot of time. Obviously, like we know the weapons at Ohio State are always going to be really good, especially out on the perimeter. So like there is time for Julian Sayin to kind of to make up that gap. But yeah,
He
I
still
think
looks
those are
good though.
he
He's
does.
just
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
He's just not as dynamic as Moore is.
I I I think that's part of it, but I wonder if we were texting a little bit during the game, and you were talking about how conservative they were being. I wonder if part of it is they know that they have the best defense in college football, and they know that the only way that they're losing is if a young quarterback throws 2 picks or something like that. Not saying that he would do that, but I am curious if that's part of why he doesn't look as dynamic as he could.
Yeah, we don't have to jump straight to Ohio State and Washington, but I just think, as much as I was talking about the game plan,
Yeah.
the second half happens and then you start to realize, oh, that's why they were doing that.
Yeah. So, all right. Alabama, Georgia. Kalen DeBoer's a good coach. That's my takeaway, right? Like I get it. He goes on the road to Florida State and he loses, and then somehow, some way, he finds a way to go on the road to Georgia and pick up a win. And like Ty Simpson in the first half was just unconscious. Like he may not play a half of football as good as that again. Yeah, like I just really impressive by Alabama. Georgia just Gunnar Stockton just limits them. That was kind of my thing. Like they only threw the football 20 times. Which to be fair, like they did average like 7 yards a carry. So like that obviously matters as well. But I just felt like every time we got to third down, and the third down numbers are crazy if I can pull them up. Like I just had so much more faith in Ty Simpson and Alabama on third down. They were 13 and 19. And Georgia was only 2 of 8. Like that was the difference. Like the difference once again between these two really good teams or evenly matched teams was the fact that Ty Simpson is just a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, and that's I was skeptical of that pregame. I did not know. I didn't think there would be that much of a gap. But you look at the game, and Georgia outrushes them by a lot, and then you go, okay, well, what's the reason Alabama won this game? Quarterback play, and Ty Simpson showed up to play. And at the end of the day, right, like if you're going to get that Ty Simpson, Alabama's in the hunt for the SEC.
Agreed. Yeah, no way around it. The defense is good. I don't know if it's as good as it was advertised in the preseason. Like people were, which I don't know if it's a coordinator thing. I don't know if people overestimated the talent, but people were talking like it was going to be like a top 5 defense in college football. You have to defend the run better than that if you're going to be a top 5 defense in college football. So with that being said, I do like the back end. Like I think that their secondary's one of the stronger ones in the country. Just the front 7 just isn't. I don't know. And like it's like I don't want to be like it's not as good as normal because you're going from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. Like that is part of it. But just a little underwhelming up front. As far as Georgia's concerned, like I think they're going to be fine. They're just not dynamic enough at quarterback, and it's another year where the Kirby Smart defense is not as good as I expect for a Kirby Smart defense to be.
Hey Smith, while you're talking and while I'm looking at the stats and everything, like there's one thought that just keeps popping in my head, and I literally just want to say this game means nothing for either team. And like the reason I say that is because it does feel like there's some type of mental thing here with Georgia and Alabama. Like, and I kept thinking about, other rivalries we've seen. Like it just this game might mean everything for both of these teams and really show strengths and weaknesses on both sides. But like I feel like even last year it kind of didn't represent the teams last year either, and it was just kind of fluky and weird. What are the chances that this game means nothing and these teams don't play like this moving forward?
It is possible. I think it's very possible because, as we said, Ty Simpson just a stud tonight. Like that will be, I think, one of my favorite quarterback performances all year, just because like Alabama couldn't run the football. It was just like Ty Simpson, you're either going to make all these plays or we're going to get beat, and he made every single one of them. And so like you're probably not getting this Ty Simpson going forward. And Georgia, like I said, like Georgia's going to be fine. Like they just ran into a quarterback who had a really hot night. So I do think that's really possible. I do want to ask you this.
Is that dumb? Is that a dumb thought though? Real quick.
No,
Like
no, I don't think so.
It feels like there's a chance that this game doesn't matter to either team.
I think that just in terms of the game itself tonight, I think the game mattered significantly more to Alabama than it did Georgia because they already have the one loss. Alabama's schedule, I believe, I haven't looked at it in a while, is really tough coming up. Like Vanderbilt at home, not a cakewalk anymore. And then they're at Missouri, and then they get Tennessee, and then they start to play LSU and Oklahoma after that as well. And so, like Alabama's probably going to drop one more, and 3 losses, you're not making the playoff. Whereas, like for Georgia, I don't know, their schedule's way easier. Like they got Kentucky, and then Auburn, and then Ole Miss, and then Florida, and Mississippi State, and then Texas, and then obviously they're going to close out with Georgia Tech. Haynes King, man, what a baller! Freaking love that dude. So I bet that's part of it as well. But in terms of like how we think about these teams going forward, I don't think this game is going to mean a ton. If that's what you meant.
Yeah, I just don't think this game. I think I'll sum it up by saying I don't know if this game teaches us anything about either of these teams.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But man, like if Ty like you said, if Ty Simpson keeps playing like that, they can beat anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd pick them to beat everybody, but they'd be more than capable.
I think you should slow your roll there. I don't think
Okay.
Alabama's that good.
I don't know, man.
I don't
They're
think
really
Alabama's
talented.
that good. I think Georgia's gonna end up having a better season, just like last year. Like that's what I mean. Like Georgia's gonna probably have a better season. Alabama's probably gonna drop another game or two, and we're one of those games might be a game where we go, how the hell did they lose that? Is that feels like the most likely scenario moving forward from this game.
I agree. I think part of it's the difference in the schedule, but I do think you're right. How weird is it going to be that we're going to look up the last week of the season and Georgia Tech's going to like mean something? I don't think that's ever happened in
Yeah.
our lifetime.
Hopefully it goes to 8 overtimes again.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be fun. I don't have any other thoughts on Alabama Georgia. If you do, go ahead and throw them out there. If not, we can start looking at the 3:30 games from earlier today.
No, I just think Georgia fans have to be in hell because I know how it feels to lose to your rival a bunch of times and
Yeah,
not feel like you know how to fit how to get through it. So Georgia fans, sorry about that, but I know how you feel.
yeah. LSU Ole Miss, you knocked that one
You
out.
were wrong.
I was.
Just like I was wrong about Georgia, you were wrong on this one.
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier, man, like I just it's been such a weird year with quarterbacks. Like Drew Allar was supposed to come back better, and he wasn't, which is not surprising. But like Cade Klubnik is not as good as he was last year. Garrett Nussmeier not as good as he was last year, and like it's just weird. Like Fernando Mendoza today wasn't great. First time he's played. I don't. I don't want to be disrespectful to Illinois because they won today, but like Iowa's by far the best defense that
Yeah.
Mendoza's seen, and he wasn't overwhelmingly awesome. So just a really weird year. I don't know how much of it is the injury, but the really concerning thing, and you texted me beforehand, LSU cannot run the football, and like when you can't run the ball, it makes it harder to throw it, and in Nussmeier's regress. I don't really know how else to say it. Like you're not going to score points when that's what you're working with on offense.
2.6 yards per carry today. And I knew they were in trouble. I knew they were in trouble when Caden Durham was announced that he wasn't going to play.
Yeah,
A run game that was already very bad lost their running back, their starting running back. Like I just felt like I that's why I was so confused when you picked LSU because I just felt like you could see this coming from a mile away. Like they
I thought
can't
it was
run the
going to be.
ball.
I had seen Trinidad play. I'm not even going to try to say his last name, and I
Chambliss.
just Chambliss. Thank you. That's great co-host right there. Um, I just thought it was going to be a really ugly game. Like LSU wins like 17-13, and it was more of a bet on LSU's defense over Ole Miss's defense and the lack of offense from LSU.
Yeah, but and I said this on Friday when we were talking about it. I'm really impressed with Trinidad Chambliss. Like I really think he is one of those dudes. 14 carries, ran hard, 71 yards, like added. added yards on the ground, threw for 314 yards. I felt like his receivers were making some crazy catches too. Like Ole Miss feels this is the most real and most confident and trusting I felt of Ole Miss since Lane Kiffin's been head coach.
I agree. I think this is his best team. I think part of it is I think his defense is better than it has been. I'm not saying that the defense is good or anything, but I think this is his best defense. And
That's weird, by the way.
it is in what way?
Like last year was supposed to be the year where they were going to click and like they spent all the money in the portal and they got Walter Nolan and they did all these things interior, especially on the interior defensive line. And like obviously 9-3, they don't objectively have as good of a roster this year. But when you have a guy like Trinidad Chambliss who's going to make plays on the ground and make plays with his arm, I'm not saying he's better than Jackson Dart, but
Yeah.
for this season 2025, like a guy like that leading your offense with the weapons that they have, like it just proves that you don't have to have you don't have to have like a Walter Nolan if the right pieces are in place and you're talented in the right places. Like it's just weird that you can look at this team and say, yeah, they're better than last year when you look at all the players that they had last year. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like the talent level doesn't seem as high, but like Trinidad, I, I feel like this is the guy. Like the guy's name I'm about to throw out. He gets thrown out for like every quarterback that makes like two good plays, and so I don't like doing it. But like he's got some Baker, a little bit of just like there's something about him that like when it's 3rd and 8, even if he's had a terrible day, because like he wasn't great today, like 23 of 39 is not super efficient. Then again, like they made some big plays down the field, and like you said, his receivers helped him out a little bit. But like even though he wasn't just like this efficiency machine, I was like it's 3rd and 8, but like he's gonna find a way to
Yep.
give them a chance. And Jackson Dart last year, more talented, but sometimes that can be a curse because then you try to do a little bit too much. And I thought that was part of the Jackson Dart experience last year was him just doing a little bit too much. Whereas with Chambliss, that has not been an issue. Then again, like it's been 2 starts, 3 starts,
3.
and so like things like we haven't seen him a ton, but from what we have
It's a
seen,
pretty
I
big
think you're
test,
right.
though.
He's just a gamer, dude, and like sometimes
That's a big
that's what
test,
you
though, Jay
need.
Smith. To
It is
beat
because
this
that.
LSU team, that's a pretty big test to pass.
Did you hear Lane Kiffin after the game? Someone
Talking
asked
about the
him.
over.
No, someone
Oh.
asked him what the $500,000 storming the field fine is like. Like what is that going to cost you? And he said half of one of LSU's defensive backs. I was like,
Wow,
that's
he's
that's
awesome. I love that.
that's such a good line. And to think, Arkansas could have hired him, but instead they hired Sam Pittman.
Side note, did
LSU,
you know Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator for the Reggie Bush Matt Leinart teams?
you said what?
Did you know Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator for the Matt Leinart Reggie Bush teams?
I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. Like just absurd. So I think we both feel,
If you go back and watch the old Rose Bowl with Texas and USC, they cut to Lane Kiffin as the offensive coordinator and he's got like a goatee. You should look this up. Him with a goatee, he doesn't even look like the same person.
that'd have been what 2004.
2005, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Oh man. Let me get some images here. Oh my gosh, man. He looks like a freaking child.
Yeah, I had no idea that he was responsible for the most generational offense we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's why he got the Tennessee job and the USC job later and was the Raiders head coach when he was 12.
Yeah. But I'm back to the game. Like you're talking about how confident you were in Chambliss. That's the theme here. 8 of 16 on 3rd down compared to LSU's 2 of 11.
Yeah,
That's
and
going to win you a game.
who would have thought before the year started? It's like, hey, there's this quarterback at Ferris State who just won the national championship for Division II. By the way, as 2 former Division II athletes, there's some freaking ballers down there at that level. But like, yeah, he's gonna outplay Garrett Nussmeier, and that's why Ole Miss is finally gonna kind of like get over the hump for the first time since Lane Kiffin showed up. Only in college football. That's why it's truly the best. So we both clearly feel good about Ole Miss going forward. Where are you at with LSU?
Real quick, where does Austin Simmons go next year?
Um,
You don't actually know, but like
Penn State.
let's throw out Penn State.
Hey man,
That's a weird fit.
that would be a weird fit. I'm trying to
I
think
think he
like
goes to I think he goes to Miami.
that's a much better call. That's
Yeah.
a much better call.
Anyway, I think it's very clear he doesn't start again, right? Like
Oh,
he's done
yeah,
for the season.
absolutely.
He's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
going to
yeah.
redshirt and he's going to find a new team next year. You can't beat LSU and
Go
get
back.
benched. Like, yeah, it's been decided and that sucks for him, but like
He
it's
wasn't
dead.
good when he watching him play in those first two games. I was like, this is not great.
Yeah. But as far as the LSU side, like they're they're getting into Penn State territory. The kind of the same conversation. I think
Oh,
they've already kind of been there.
you mean Brian Kelly is still Brian Kelly?
Yeah, and it's just like why does is it really just luck? Is there something that they're not doing? Is there it like it because it feels like Brian Kelly did all of the things that he was supposed to do this offseason. He's got a returning high projected quarterback. He's got great weapons on the outside. He goes out and gets a Barry and Brown. He goes out and gets a defensive coordinator in year two that is supposed to reignite this defense. They seemingly do have all the talent on defense. They have one of the better defenses in the country. Like all of these things he did and got right and I want to reiterate that he got it right with
Yeah, he
all of
did.
these things. And now we look up and they've lost to Ole Miss. A game they were not supposed to. I mean, maybe not
They were
supposed to is the
underdogs,
wrong
but
word,
still.
but a game that you lose normally, and now that you have all these things fixed, you're not supposed to lose those anymore. And like, is it luck, like I'm saying, or is the margin really just that razor thin?
Um,
I'm getting
it's a
real
good question.
philosophical. I'm
You
getting
are.
real philosophical tonight.
Can I throw out a really simple answer that may or may not be that's probably wrong based off what we saw in the 7:30 games. But like winning on the road's really hard in college football.
Yeah.
Like could it just be that that they played on the road? Um
But to be
I
the
don't know.
team that you think that you are in the national championship level team, you got to
Yeah.
win on the road.
Yeah, and like they beat Clemson on the road early in the year, which is not the same thing all these weeks later. But like their biggest issue is like Garrett Nussmeier he's not the same. And like if it's Garrett Nussmeier from last year, I'm picking LSU in that game and feeling really, really good about it. But he's not the same. But at the same time, to answer like if it's a Brian Kelly thing, if the margins are just thin and it's luck, Brian Kelly's been doing this for so long, and it's the same thing every year. And what is it like? What the last three coaches at LSU won a national title, one being Ed freaking Ogeron. Like you have every resource made available to you.
Yep.
The pool of recruiting in Louisiana, like you don't have to leave the state for skill guys. It's a Brian Kelly thing. Like it has to be. Just like it's the same thing at Penn State. Like it's a James Franklin thing. Like when you've been there that long and things have never broken your way and you've had all that talent, like at some point it's like, hey man, like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you'd think, right? But then you look up and there's only three active coaches with national titles.
Yeah, it's true. It's a really good point. Um, and that's but wouldn't that like further emphasize that like it is a coaching thing?
Yeah, but you could also say that further emphasizes that this thing is a luck of the draw dice roll most of the time. And they're in the conversation almost every year. Like maybe they're just unlucky. I think that you can start to get caught up in these like close games and these close losses, but then you start to think like, man, what did they do wrong? Like, what did LSU do wrong this offseason and this season getting ready? Like, what did Penn State do wrong? Like, it seems like they did everything right except actually like finish a game or win a game.
Yeah. And I will say this year for LSU, if you want to chalk it up to luck, go right ahead because I don't. Garrett Nussmeier, like, who no one thought that Garrett Nussmeier was going to come back and look like this. Everyone's like, he's
Yeah.
going to be the number one overall, or not everybody. A lot of people thought like potential number one overall pick and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to chalk it up to that this year, I have to go back and like work through all those games and like figure out like, is it, the ball just bounced the wrong way this year, and then the following year the same thing happened, and like because there are definitely years where like it is luck. Like you remember um Gus Malzahn's first year at Auburn, their run was
Yeah.
they lost to I don't remember who they lost to in the national title game.
Florida
Florida
State.
State. Yeah. And just like every bounce went their way. But most years it doesn't feel like that. Like I think most years kind of feel like this, where there are clearly three teams that sit above everybody else, and then there's a gap. And I never feel like a Brian Kelly coach team is in that like top 3 tier thing.
So is that just what he is? How does he fix it? How does he get any better?
I feel like we're just having the same conversation about James Franklin with somebody different.
Well,
But
that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
you tell him that his defense sucks. He goes and improves his defense. You tell him that he need, Penn State side. You tell him you need more weapons. You get more weapons. You tell him to spend money and get NIL. You do that. You get all your players back that could have went to the draft. You do that. Like check, 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 check. What can they do?
it's a great question. I don't know. There has to be something just innate about those guys who find a way to like consistently win. Like there is clearly something different about Dan Lanning when you watch just like how he acts and how he carries himself and how he leads his team. Like it looks so different, and part of it is a personality thing. But like it
Yeah.
looks so incredibly different from Brian Kelly and James Franklin, and like even Ryan Day. I think it's the same thing. He obviously looks a little different from Dan Lanning, but there's just like the kids call it aura. I don't know. Maybe it's just
Farming.
that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It'll be interesting to see if LSU can bounce back because they feel like they've. I think we talked about this in our preview. I expected LSU to either be right at the top and be one of the best teams in the country, or completely fall off the wagon. And they could definitely fall off the wagon at this point.
They could. I've got their schedule pulled up. So they're gonna host South Carolina. That should be
Watch
a
out!
win. Agreed. Watch out.
You can't run the ball.
Yeah, yeah. And then they're at Vanderbilt, A&M at home, at Alabama.
Brother.
Gee, dude, it gets a little worse a little later. And then they get Arkansas at home, Western Kentucky at home, and then they're at Oklahoma. Like
Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt. I won't even throw South Carolina on that list. Those are all losable games.
dude, imagine if they go 8-4, then I think we can agree that there's something wrong with Brian Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What do you want to go to the Ohio State game next?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. I don't have a ton of thoughts. Actually, I'm gonna throw a theory at you. I think if I'm playing Ohio State and I'm inside the 5-yard line, I think I'm gonna purposefully take a false start just to give myself a little bit of extra space. Like
At this point, man, it's not luck.
it's not, man. Like I don't know if this is the best comparison, but it's the best I can think of at 12:07 a.m. Like, did you watch the Magic play basketball much last year?
Yeah.
There's just like no space on the court because they're all just so big, so tall, so long, and they're always like in the right spot. And when I watch Ohio State play defense in the red zone, I feel that way about their secondary, and their front seven's so good, you're not going to run the football.
Yeah, and I think it starts with the linebackers. Yeah, last year was Sonny Styles and Cody Simon. This year it's Sonny and Arvell Reese. And when you have two linebackers that are 6'4" and 6'5", 230, 240 pounds that run 4.4, 4.5s, like that just condenses everything. The
Yeah,
quarterback scramble is no longer really a threat. And then, obviously they probably have, I'm going to say it, they have the best secondary in football.
absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
so when you throw those two in there, your defensive line doesn't even have to be great, but they are. And like, that's the recipe, right? You can't run straight at them. They're too big in the interior with Cade McDonald, Tywan Malone, Edric Houston. You can't get around them because of the linebackers, and you can't throw over because of the secondary. And then when you have the natural defense of the back of the end zone and the sideline in a condensed situation, like it's just special. Like it's not most teams like give up a lot of points in that situation. It's just special what they can do down there.
It is. No notes. Like we talked about it a little bit earlier. Like there's no need for Julian Sane to throw for 400 yards when you have that defense. Oh, and by the way, you also run the football for 150 yards. that
Yeah.
that makes it nice too. So, Ohio State, like we
22
said
of
it earlier,
28,
yeah, just
208 yards, two touchdowns. Like that, he probably could have
like
thrown it more, but why does he need to?
yeah, and super efficient. Um, just he's just this is going to sound like an insult, and it is not. Promise. Like the early Nick Saban years, where it's like AJ McCarron winning national titles, and it's like, hey AJ, just don't get in the way, right? Julian saying obviously better than AJ McCarron and those guys, right? But like the way that they call the game feels similar. With that being said, like Ohio State's going to have a game at some point because it's college football and 18 to 20, 24-year-olds now. Like they're up and down. Like I think, maybe, there's probably going to be a week at some point where we see them kind of have to open it up. And I think Sayan's going to be really, really good in that spot. Not just because the receivers are awesome. Yes, Jeremiah Smith's awesome. Carnell Tate's a stud. I freaking love him. And like he's going to open it up and be awesome because like you can just tell like he's a
Yeah.
special dude.
And I think people will look at this final number and be like, "Oh, 24-6." But like here's the thing I want to let people in on when it comes to Ohio State. They are purposely playing slow. They have the slowest pace in all of college football. They're the slowest team. And that's a purposeful decision to absolutely bleed you out and wear you down for 4 quarters. And I think I made the comparison today to you. I think they remind me of that 23
Michigan.
Michigan
Yeah.
team where it's just you're getting just squeezed a little bit more each and every play, each and every series, and then finally the dam breaks.
Yeah.
And like when you can do that and play that brand of football from a physicality standpoint, from we're going to stop the run and we're going to run, and then you can also open it up to a guy like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, like brother, like it. I
Good
know I'm
luck.
a fan. I know I'm a fan, but like, what other team can do that?
Yeah, it's a great point. None. That's the answer. Um, no notes on the Ohio State stuff. I will say I like Washington. They're gonna
Yeah,
win
Damon
8
Williams is
games.
awesome.
Yeah,
Those three guys are awesome. The Damon Williams, Boston, and then the running back, they're awesome, and they're going to win a lot of games this year.
they are. Like I feel like 8 games is the floor. I say that without looking at their schedule. I know they don't play Indiana. I don't think they play Oregon.
I think they can get to
Um,
10.
they do play Oregon. They close with them.
I think they
Hell
can
yeah.
get to 10. I
I
think that
I I
the
agree.
the biggest
Like
games other than Oregon are the Michigan
at
game and then
Michigan,
the Illinois game.
yeah, and those are like yeah, I totally agree. Like 10 is very much within reach.
Are they a
Um,
playoff team? If they go 10-2, are they a playoff team?
10-2 with 2 losses to Ohio State and Oregon. With wins
You'll
over
probably
Michigan
beating
and Illinois.
ranked Michigan probably, and
Yeah,
ranked Illinois probably.
yeah, they would have a shot. It would depend on what everyone else does. Like Like once you get to 2 losses, you then become somewhat dependent on other people.
Here's a question for you. Who are you picking? A 10-2 Notre Dame or a 10-2 Washington?
10-2 Washington, absolutely. Because Notre Dame's one good win would be over USC. Like that would be the
Who
only
now
one.
and now looks not as good. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be I feel
Oh,
like we're going to see a lot of questions this year at the end of the season where it goes, who are you taking? 10-2 X team in a conference that actually plays a full conference slate, or 10-2 Notre Dame? And I feel like Notre Dame is going to get the benefit of the doubt because they're
they're
going
Notre
to
Dame.
bludgeon these teams. Well, they're going to bludgeon these teams that they're playing for the rest of the season. And they're going to get the benefit of the doubt, but because everybody's going to forget about the first 2 games of the season. It's how it always works. You would rather lose the beginning of the season than the end of the season. But I want us to be the first ones on the trail there and on the case. There's going to be a lot of 10-2 this team versus 10-2 Notre Dame, and we're going to lead the charge.
Yeah, keep Notre Dame out. I will lead that charge every day of the week. The interesting thing, yeah, I'm with you. I'd absolutely take a 10-2 Washington. I think just about any 10-2 SEC team, I think you would take over Notre Dame. Any 10-2 Big Ten team. I'm trying to think. 10-2. No, they haven't lost yet, so let's not even speak negatively on Georgia Tech. I'm trying to think if like Virginia goes 10-2, or like Florida
Ew.
State, not Virginia.
Ew.
Like Florida State finishes the year 10-2 with losses at
Virginia.
Virginia and Miami, and they win every other game.
Virginia was the first team you thought of? That's disgusting.
It's the ACC, man. No, okay. Florida State's like a better call there. Like Florida State goes 10-2 with losses to Miami and Virginia, and then they win all their other games. Obviously, they have the win over Alabama. They'd have a win. That'd be their only good win.
You still take Florida State.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not haters at all either.
No, not at
We're
all.
not even slightly.
Do you want to go over the UMass Missouri game? No, I'm just kidding.
Can I tell you? So I've got, as an Arkansas fan who's just completely punted on the season. There's 2 teams that I will undoubtedly be rooting for the rest of the year. One played at noon, Georgia Tech, which I think everyone is rooting for Georgia Tech just because Hanks King's awesome. And Mississippi State. I will root for the Mississippi State Bulldogs every game they play. They're so much fun. I think they're incredibly tough. I love their quarterback. Love the Bulldogs.
Jeff Lebby. Everybody thought they were cooked. And then Jeff Lebby is a great coach. We saw that at Oklahoma. Like
Yeah.
I think you saw last year. I think we touched on it earlier in the show, is like the idea that you need to have a strong fit and a strong culture. And I think you saw that last year where Mississippi State was kind of weeding that out. And I don't know how many people that I heard when Jeff Lebby was hired say this is a bad hire. I think everyone thought it was a
I
slam
wasn't one of
dunk.
them. I freaking love that dude.
Yeah,
He's
everybody
awesome.
thought it was a slam dunk. They have a bad season last year, and now everyone's like, "Oh, maybe this Jeff Lebby thing isn't working out." It's like, no,
Did
it's
you
gonna
see
just let him do his thing.
did you see Any Given Saturday on Netflix?
Yes, it was awesome.
The ending of the Mississippi State season. Like there was just something in the locker room where you could tell, like you talk about culture, like you could tell that those dudes really loved Jeff Lebby, which is
Hmm.
it's hard to love your coach when you go 2-10. And that, like after seeing that and seeing this, like it's not surprising.
Yeah.
So
They should have. I don't think they should have won that game. I think Tennessee probably should have won that game in regulation. That offensive pass interference on Brazil,
yeah,
that was a touchdown, was crazy.
agreed. Agreed. Um 3:30 games. I know we got a little off track there. Indiana, Iowa got a little weird. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Um, Indiana,
Indiana's
like,
not as
how
good
do
as
we?
everyone thought they were. I try to tell you, they're not. They beat Illinois. Things snowballed. Indiana is not some contender.
They're not a contender, but I do think Would you?
And I
So
don't think
obviously,
they're better
like,
than last year.
um, I think they are just because they're better at quarterback. Even though Mendoza had a rough day today, I do think he's better than Rourke.
We were talking about how good Rourke was at this time last year, the same way we were talking about Mendoza this year. Don't.
To be fair, Curtis Rourke was never the favorite to win the Heisman, like Mendoza was coming into this week.
Well, that's not. I don't think that's fair. Just because the Heisman
The
is
pedigree
such a
is different.
it's a narrative based thing.
Yeah.
Some like, and you're probably right. Mendoza probably is it considered better and is better, but like, I don't know how people are missing the parallels from this season to last season already. Like it literally is. It looks the same.
Yeah, it depends on how you feel about Illinois, which I think everyone felt bad about him after the Indiana game, and then I think today people feel a little better, but not like Indy. Like I think Indiana last year was like a tier 3 college football team, and I think this year, if you wanted to put them in tier 2, I would be fine with that. Still like a
But
large gap.
you follow up the Illinois game with this game. It's like it's Iowa.
Yeah, tough
You're
defense.
you goodness. You're like you're a little bit of you. Indianapolis has given you some homerism when it comes
Look,
to Indiana.
here's
I try to get it
here's
out of you, and you don't
here's
listen
what's
to
going to
me.
happen to Indiana this year. Okay, they're going to go 10-2. They're going to get crushed when they go on the road to Oregon. I think they have a bye week before that game.
Yep.
Won't matter. Um, I think they'll crush Michigan State, UCLA. I haven't seen Maryland play a ton, but I do believe that they're
Maryland's
undefeated.
not bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
Maryland's not
yeah.
bad.
Um, road games in college football are tough, so maybe they struggle on the road there. They go to Penn State. I will completely digress what I said last week. They are not giving Penn State a game. I will completely walk back that take. They'll crush Wisconsin, and then they'll crush Purdue. Okay, 10-2 Indiana or Notre Dame.
10-2 Indiana.
Really?
Indiana would have the better win.
It's true, but Notre Dame would have the 2 better losses.
Yeah, and we all know that the committee loves bad losses or good losses.
That's right. That's right. There was one more 3:30 game I thought.
Auburn, Texas A&M.
Yeah. How about us saying that Mike Elko would fix the defense, and he did.
Yeah, and Jackson Arnold still doesn't know how to throw in the pocket or really at all.
So I read a thing today, and I thought it was a really good point. Auburn fired Gus Malzahn in a year where he won 6 SEC games. Hugh Freeze is still yet to win 6 SEC games, and he's in year 3. I mean, I would get rid of him.
I think I said this Friday. I think I said that if Hugh Freeze was having this season last year, he would be safe. But he's a year late.
Yes.
I don't know if they get rid of him because you do see the improvement and you do see the direction that they're going in.
What's his
So
buyout? That's also the question.
I don't think he gets fired regardless. I think he gets one more year unless this thing really goes off the rails. And it could. But
Yeah,
he's just a year behind right now.
He's not getting fired. That buyout is $16.25 million.
I just don't know how you have a quarterback that has all the physical gifts and ability that Jackson Arnold has, and he doesn't know how to throw within the pocket. Like it's like I've never seen a guy be so unsure of himself and never trust his eyes to the point where he would rather take a sack than trust what he's seeing. There's
Yeah.
only so many coverages out there, and it's not like you're seeing Matt Patricia ghosts against Texas like every week. Like there's things that teams are good at, and they're going to run a majority of that. For example, Washington is like 50% man coverage. Like, so 50% of the time you're going to get man coverage. Like, there's only so many things they can do. Like, how are you still struggling to trust this?
Yeah, I
It's why they're 3-2 now.
it is because they. I don't know if they should have won today, but they could have. Like they had opportunities, and
He scored
you
10 points. Jackson Arnold got sacked 5 times. He averaged 3.8 yards per attempt. Like,
yeah, it's
that's
just
never going to win you football games.
especially against A&M, especially against A&M. Um, how how good is A&M? Are they a playoff team? Let's start there.
I'm gonna look at let's do the schedule game. All right.
It's
So
so important. Like it is the most important
Mississippi,
thing.
let's go through Mississippi State. I'm gonna say that's a win. It's gonna be hard. It's at home
It's
though, so
it's
that's
at
a win.
home. Yeah, agreed.
Florida, I think that's a win.
Yeah,
Arkansas, that's a win.
that's a
I
win.
think they beat LSU, man. I
Even on
do.
the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they lose to Missouri that next week though.
Okay.
I think Missouri's a playoff team. Um,
Okay.
beat South Carolina, beat Samford. I hate that SEC crap where they play an FCS school at the end of the season. And then they lose to Texas. So we're 10 and 2. 10 and
Not
2 Texas
Arkansas.
A&M.
Just throwing that
Do
out
they get
there.
in over 10 and 2 Texas A&M? Do they get in over Notre Dame?
They beat Notre Dame, but they absolutely
That's what
should.
I'm saying.
But the
That's
issue
that's a
is,
joke, Jay Smith.
what's their best loss though? Is it a better loss than losing to Texas A&M at home? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like we're gonna have like 40 10 and 2 teams by the way it sounds. Everybody's going 10 and
Yeah.
2.
Someone's gonna get hurt, and dude, like
I think we named 5 teams that aren't gonna win their conference that are 10 and 2. I think that's what we just did. So there's
Penn
someone
State,
is
Penn State, Indiana, A&M,
yeah,
Florida State. There's four.
Missouri, LSU. Who
Missouri,
else?
LSU. I mean, yeah, you're right. All right. Noon games. I thought USC Illinois was an absolute blast. That game
It
was so
was
much fun to
fun.
watch.
You
Which
could tell early on both of those teams are just kind of blah though.
man, Illinois could have. I'm not gonna say they should have. Could have really blown them out. Like when you fumble the football twice in the red zone, like and you leave probably 14 points up on the board because USC was like I could have called plays for Illinois today. Like, hey guys, we're gonna run halfback dive to the right, and then we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna run it to the left, and then maybe we're gonna play action once or twice. We're just gonna run
Luke
straight.
Altmaier went off.
He played really well today. Yeah.
328 yards on 20 of 26, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Maava played well too, man.
I like him,
I,
dude.
I just think they're 2 teams that are you need these type of teams in college football. The teams that aren't going to really make the playoff, they're not but you can turn it on and you have some depth within the conference and it's a cool Big Ten game. Like it's just
Yeah,
fun.
but also if if USC beat Notre Dame later this year, I don't think we'd be surprised.
I'd be pretty surprised, I think.
Just with their ability to score, the USC has the same issue that they've had ever since Lincoln Riley showed up. Like they're just like the offensive and defensive line are just not good enough.
Yeah, they just
And
don't have the horses.
and it's so interesting because at Oklahoma, that was the offensive line. At Oklahoma, the offensive line was never an issue. And and like my first thought after that was, oh, like where is he recruiting? And it's like, wait, he's in freaking LA. There's 4 million people in LA. Like
Yeah.
certainly you can find 5 Division One offensive linemen in there somewhere, and he hasn't. Like, why do you think he hasn't been able to get the horses up front? Like, I can understand the defense being bad because that is a Lincoln Riley staple, but like the offensive line at Oklahoma was always awesome.
Yeah, I think things are just going slower for them than they thought. I think those couple years where Alex Grinch was defensive coordinator really set them back as a program.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's probably the culprit there. He's just a little too loyal to his coaches, or at least has been. But they have the number one class right now. They're signing 30 something kids. Like you can see the vision with USC, especially on the defensive and offensive fronts. Like you can see the vision, but that's another guy that it feels like it's just a year or two behind. Like they should have had this feeling in this team last year or the year before that. Like everybody just feels like a year behind. I don't know.
Yeah, and Illinois is a good football team. They'll beat everyone who's average, but they won't beat anyone who's above average.
Yeah. And they'll
Yeah,
have good games like this. Mayava's good. I like Mayava. I like their skill guys. Wayman Jordan's good too. Like they're both decent football teams, and I would have no problem turning them on a Saturday and thinking, oh, this is a well coached, good football team. But other than that, like you're not getting much, and they might play spoiler. USC might play spoiler.
they could. They definitely could. Can we talk about Georgia Tech and Wake Forest now,
What a weird game.
dude? Okay, we were talking earlier, and you were asking like what is the difference between like these teams that can like win the national title, and you mentioned how like there's only 3 national title coaches, and guys like Brian Kelly and James Franklin just can't seem to figure it out. Is it like a them thing? Is it like a luck thing, or whatever?
Yeah.
And let me know if this take has legs. Watching the Georgia Tech game today, even though they were down big at one point, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to come back and win the game. Even though like I had no business thinking that with the way that it was going. But like who they are and the culture that they have, I was like, yeah, like they are absolutely going to at least make this a game. Penn
I'm gonna be
State goes
honest with
down.
you.
Yeah.
I really thought Wake Forest was going to win that game the whole way.
Yeah.
Like I,
Okay.
I was I was watching it and I was like, this is really going to happen. Like it just felt like Wake Forest was making every big play. It felt like there were times where it's like, oh, there's the break, there's the
Yeah.
break for Georgia Tech, and then Wake Forest would
Make a
force a
play.
turnover or make a play, and it's like, okay, Wake Forest is really going to do this. And it just felt like I looked up and it was like, oh, they're tying the game to send it to overtime, and then Georgia Tech kind of did what they did at the end there, but like it just felt very sleepy from Georgia Tech.
That's fair. Um, but to go back to my point, I can see why you felt that way. I guess part of it is like it is Wake Forest, and like watching every time their quarterback threw the football, I was like, that's good for Georgia Tech. And he obviously gets hurt, and like that obviously has an impact. They send him back out there, but he's in the brace, and he's not running around like he was. So like that obviously had an impact. I mean, the dude had 10 carries for 82 yards. Like he was very very problematic. But like with Georgia Tech, knowing who their head coach is, knowing kind of the culture that they have, wasn't surprised at all when they came back and won. When Penn State was down 17-3, very surprised. When LSU went down 2 scores to Ole Miss, I was like, this game feels over. Like, is that like maybe that's the thing that's different. Like when Ohio State gets down, it's like yeah, like they're gonna come back because they're Ohio State, and that's just kind of how they are. And Dan Lanning led teams seem I feel the same way about right, and Kirby Smart and Nick Saban teams like you felt the same way about them too.
That's high praise
For who?
for
Oh,
Georgia
for
Tech.
Georgia Tech, yeah. Which like part of it is they're playing Wake Forest. Like that is definitely part of it. But like they're
You're
just
put
they
you're
are
putting Georgia Tech. You just put Georgia Tech in the same conversation with the elite of the elite.
what I mean is like Georgia Tech has an innate toughness about them. And like Ohio
Yeah, yeah,
State and like the best teams are always super tough. And like Penn State and LSU don't always feel like that.
yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I agree. You do feel like, and I kind of made this point with Syracuse, even though they got their doors blown off. There's just certain teams that kind of have this wherewithal about them where, no matter what the score is, no matter how the game's going, they're never going to lay down and quit.
Yeah.
You're going to get the effort for 4 quarters. And like, that's a quality that certain teams have, even if they're not the most talented. And Georgia Tech definitely falls into that category.
Yeah.
But even with the way that they played and how hard they played and kept playing and the effort they gave, they still played like butt. And like I still
Yeah.
thought they were gonna lose.
Totally fair. But hey, they found a
They
way.
got the dub. They got the dub, and
And
that's what you're talking about. That's your whole point.
yeah, like and dude, their schedule the rest of the way, except for Georgia, obviously. I feel pretty good about it.
10-2 Georgia Tech. Do they get in over Notre Dame?
Absolutely, absolutely. But 11-1 is very much on the board for them. Like they're gonna play Virginia Tech at home. That should be a win. They're at Duke. Could be tough because Duke all of a sudden today was like, "Hey, we're gonna score a whole bunch of points against Syracuse." Um, like could be a tough game, but like I kind of expect for Georgia Tech to win that. And then they get Syracuse at home, battle of just the grittiest teams in the ACC. And then they're at NC State, at Boston College. They get Pitt at home, and then they get Georgia. Like 11-1 Georgia Tech is 1,000% in play.
Yeah, and I think that people. I'm just a little worried. Like Wake Forest is a bad football team. Like I don't
Yeah,
know. It's like if you can do that against Wake Forest, who else can you do that against and with that schedule? And it feels like if Haynes King isn't literally willing this team to a win in certain situations, like what happens when we saw last year when he went down, they lost.
yeah.
And what happens if he's not on his game? What happens if he fumbles a couple times or doesn't
That's the
play
concern.
like a
Like
freak of nature? Like they're gonna lose.
there's so much. Like offensively, it is all on Haynes King. That's the concern with them.
Yeah. And like, do you think? I mean, if there was anybody that was going to carry a team for an entire season, it would be him.
Yeah,
But are you banking on that?
he. I no. I, they'll lose one they shouldn't for the exact point that you made. Like he'll, his shoulder will get popped out of place and he'll miss like two possessions, and
ten and
like
two
that'll
Georgia
cost
Tech.
them. And it's Georgia Tech. I don't. I don't know if we can put them in over Notre Dame. Your
I'm
best.
doing it still. Let's just do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. All the Notre Dame fans are like, I'm never listening to these two guys ever again, and that's fine.
Bef- Before we wrap up, can we talk about what I, was that not the most obvious targeting penalty ever against Penn
Dude,
State on that last possession of regulation, or was
I
that
don't know.
an
I don't know if
overtime?
you
No, it was
saw.
overtime.
I don't know if you saw my text, but they brought the rules analyst on, and he was like, "That's not the crown. That's the helmet rimming." And I'm on the helmets, there's the little thing that like presses in or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like he hits him with that. I'm like, that's not the crown.
What
What?
are we doing? I
It's
it
like,
technically like that. There's so many bad targeting calls. Like that
yeah,
play right there is why targeting exists. Like if you were doing like a training video to referees about what targeting is, you would show that. And like for them to go, oh well, base of
yeah.
the helmet and and it was the defenseless. Like
Do
we
you
we have to call that targeting.
like? I know you remember this play. Ohio State's playing Clemson.
Sean
Justin
Wade.
Fields, Justin Fields scrambles and spins and gets crushed in his ribs. And I just remember sitting at home being like, he hit him in the ribs. Like that's not targeting, but it was because he hit him with the same part of the helmet that this Penn State guy hit the Oregon player with. And just comparing those two plays, it's like if that's targeting on that Clemson player, then that should absolutely be targeting on the Penn State player. I'm just glad that it didn't matter and Oregon won the game.
I'm watching it right now, and you're 100% right. Right here.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not like fully right here, but it's right here. Like the
it,
intent
that
is
is
still there.
that is forcible contact to the head and neck area.
The most forcible contact to the head and
I
neck
don't think there
area.
could be any more
That's
forcible
what I'm.
contact to the head or neck area than that play. Like I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But should
Look
I
at
bet the
this.
Bengals Monday night?
Look at that.
Yeah, seriously. Like it's part like
How is that not the crown of the helmet?
no idea.
The this guy that posted this, he was responding to a guy that said his face is up. That's not targeting. His face is up in this picture, Jay Smith.
Insane.
Not really.
Um, Can I give you some gambling advice? Is that
Yeah,
cool?
yeah. I do.
When
I
we
need it. I need it.
do our sharp versus square bets on Fridays, just fade me. I'm over. I haven't hit one yet. Just
Oh
fade
my
me.
gosh, I should have definitely given out Ole Miss instead of Kansas. Kansas pissed me off so much today. Jalen,
I should have just bet. I should have just given out Notre Dame. Like I knew it was coming. I just didn't want to accept it, and I let my feelings get in the way.
Jalen Daniels fumbled at the 1 yard line to go up 7. Or no, they would have went. No, they would have went up 4. So Jalen Daniels fumbles at the 1 to go up 4. The possession after that, Cincinnati punts and Kansas scores. So
Jeez.
like without that fumble, who knows what happens? I'm not saying that's why the bet lost, but then Kansas goes down and scores a touchdown to go up 4 with like a minute left, and then Cincinnati drives down the field and scores with like 9 seconds left. I Kansas is probably on my banned list at this point with how bad that was. Just the fact that they gave that lead up, weren't even going to cover, but the fact that they gave the lead up with that little time left, just
Brutal.
I'm a swear.
We got okay. We've got 230 people in here. So go ahead and plug all your stuff. Plug it
Oh
all.
yeah, at ZG the Grapevine on X. We do pretty well. This week is not our best week, but before this week we were up 9 units. I've been doing this for like 3 years. We're up like 200 plus units in college basketball, 70 something in college football. I have a Patreon link in the bio. But if you guys are listening to this and you want my projections, just follow me on X, send me a DM. We'll get you hooked up with a better deal. It's like $65 per month on Patreon. I won't make you pay for that. If you're a listener of Jay Smith, so just hit me up in the DMs.
Yep. He's seriously like you said, not a great week this week, but like the dude's super consistent. Wouldn't have him on as often as I do.
How many
People
guys
watching
are you
on
going to hear
X.
say that? How many guys are you going to hear say, "Oh, not the best week. I didn't do my best." Like that
No one.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Very
we're
few.
transparent, we're honest, we have recaps. I give out very clear plays and projections, and you'll know if I'm winning or losing, and it's all recorded. So I'm very transparent, but we do win a hell of a lot, don't we, Jay Smith?
Yes, we do. Most people are watching on X right now. Head over to YouTube. My take is that's my personal YouTube stuff, and then you can check out Indie Sports Ticket as well. Host a radio show 10 to noon every day in Indy, and it is a blast, especially since the Colts are 3-0, and Indiana's gonna trick everybody again, and they're 4-0. Last
At
thing.
ZG the Grapevine. At ZG the Grapevine on X.
Last thing. We're both big baseball guys. Oh, are the Reds gonna make the playoffs?
Game 162 tomorrow decides it. If the Mets lose, they're in. If the Reds win, they're in.
Oh, let's go. Love
But if
that.
they both lose, the Mets are in, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, who wins the World Series? And who do you want
Uh,
to win? Who do you want to win? That's a much easier question.
I want the Tigers to win, but I don't think they will.
Dude,
They're just choking. They're
what a
absolutely choking.
meltdown, man. Like uh, uh, on the let me not say that. Just unprecedented. We've never seen this before. Um, obviously I will be rooting for the Cubs, but if the Cubs don't win it, the Phillies, man. Like I want
Yeah,
Bryce
I was just about
Harper.
to say Phillies. Yeah.
I want them to win. I want him to win a World Series so badly. Like it's really weird. Like I don't think I've ever my hatred for Bryce Harper to how much I freaking love that dude now is I don't think I've ever had a player I've never 180'd, not 360'd, never 180'd on a player like this. And then you got Schwarber too, who I obviously love as well. So
I feel like
all right.
that's everyone's take on the Phillies right now. Like,
Yeah.
well, Bryce Harper is like, oh, I used to hate Bryce Harper, and now I love him. I feel the same way. Like everyone I've talked to, like Bryce Harper is like one of everyone's favorite player now, which you would never have said in like 2016.
Oh, absolutely not. And Zach Wheeler getting hurt really was a blow for them. Fun fact: my wife knows Zach Wheeler's niece.
My wife.
All right, man. All right, dude. I love you. Go follow him at ZG the Grapevine. I haven't talked to you about this. Next Saturday, though, I'd like to make this like an every Saturday thing, if that's possible. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm down.
okay, sounds good. I think I'm good next Saturday night. So October 4th, go subscribe to My Take Is so you can watch this on YouTube and hop in the chat and tell us how you feel about your team. It'll be great. We will see y'all next week.
See you, fellas.